90% of what you do does not matter at all. Find the 10% that does matter and spend 80% of your time doing that. At least that's what every single super successful person I've done, starting with my first mentor, George Gammon. When I first moved to Arizona and started working with him out of Robert Kiyosaki's office, the first thing that I noticed is he spent 95% of his time on the one thing that only he could do. And then he delegated everything else to employees, workers, just about everything. He had his own chef, his own cleaners, everything. Every single task that inside the business, he delegated to other people. That's why he hired me. He wanted me to do the research for his videos so then he could spend his time doing the videos because that was the only thing that he could do that no one else could do. That moved the bottom line by the most amount. And then he found good people to hire to fill in every other role. And I've noticed that with every single super high performing person that I've met, not just in business, but every single super successful business person I've ever met does this, but not just them. Also, high performing athletes. I got to train with Billy Dumong, who won the gold medal for Nordic skiing, which, if you don't know, that is one of the most cardio intensive sports in the entire world. It is that cross country skiing. And I got to train with him. We ran in Park City, Utah. I'm from Boston at sea level, so we were training at very high altitudes. We did a 4-minute uphill course and he let me start 20 seconds before him. And he said, if I catch you, then we're going to go again. And we're going to keep going until you finish before me. And he would finish like 10, 15 seconds before me every single time. And this was only a 4-minute course. I've done massive long races before. Never experienced anything like this. I noticed the same attributes in him. He trained what had the absolute highest return on investment and cut out all other training, or at least the majority of it. Think about it. What training makes the most difference? It is usually compound movements. You progressively overload over time and you do things that work out multiple muscle groups at once. Compound movements are just, let's say, bench press, deadlift, squats, overhead press, pull-ups. It is using multiple muscle groups at once that is very hard on everything and it can get everything sore. If you spend 85% of your time doing the core foundational movements and then the rest of it on accessories, which don't really move the needle with regards to overall growth for everything. Yes, it can touch up appearances and do everything for very small tasks, but if you just wanted to have the most effective workouts, it is going to compose of the majority of compound movements and progressively overloading, going heavier and more volume over time. That is at least what this guy did and many other people. I've seen this with every single super successful person. So right now, I'm in the process of hiring somebody to take over one of the tasks that I spend a lot of my day doing right now. I know that I can spend my time doing something much more effective and I can train and someone else can do this role better than me. And if someone else can do the role that you're doing and do it better, you should hire someone eventually to fill that role. Why? Because you should spend your time doing the one thing that moves the needle the most that only you can do. For George, it was making videos that only he could make. And when he made those videos, he got more views. More views equaled more people that were potentially interested in his product. More people that were interested in the product. More people that would buy equals more money. And when you do this over a long period of time, that is the one thing that only he can do. And it is clear that if he delegated and hired people to do things on other end, it would work much better. That is exactly what he did. Every single super successful person that I've met does that. Therefore, I'm going to do it. All I'm doing is applying what I've learned from other people. And you consume information all day. If all you did was apply that information that you got, I guarantee you would be a whole lot better off. I know that I'm supposed to use my phone less, but I don't. So it is much, much harder in practice than to do in theory. That does not mean that, oh, just start hiring people when you're just starting a business and you're trying to make money. No, I think you need to have multiple skill sets. A lot of people buy courses. I do the same thing. You buy a course where you learn some sort of skill. Let's say it is having the highest converting web page, a web page that you click on that converts to the highest percent of sales. That is a skill set that I needed. You buy a course, you learn everything you can in the most condensed way possible. Same thing if you were trying to do email marketing, get the best email sequence possible. Same thing if you're trying to do organic outreach, you want to be the best at that as possible. And I think what a lot of people do is they buy one course and think that is the magic solution. But if you wanted to equate that to money, you need to have many other skill sets. And the person making the course maybe naturally has these other skill sets that they are incorporating into that one core offer. But you think that that is your one ticket to make money, when in reality, it is multiple skill sets stacked on top of each other that equates to making more money because there's so many other steps that go into it. But once you understand the psychology of it and you get decent enough and you can maybe start the business to where you're making a few thousand, maybe 5 figures a month, then eventually you can hire somebody to take over that role. I would rather hire someone now to make a really good landing page that is going to, instead of me putting a few weeks of my mental effort into it, I would rather pay somebody to do that. But the key is that I understand the complexities that go into it. And before, what I was doing is I saw what these people were doing, that, hey, they are spending 90% of the time on the things that they can control and delegate and everything else. So I was hiring people for a business that I didn't fully understand the skill sets that were needed because I didn't know the skill. So when I'm doing a job interview and I'm asking them questions, I don't know if they're a right fit or not because I don't understand that position. And realistically, how are you going to hire someone for something if you don't understand what it is that they're actually doing? And if you don't understand it, how do you know who is a right fit for that role? You don't. There's no way to quantify results because you don't understand the results to the best possible degree. But once I've stacked on top of a lot of these skill sets to where I understand it, it's very easy for me now to go in and hire somebody for whatever role I'm looking for so I can delegate that to somebody else and focus on, for me, the thing that moves the needle the most. But because I understand the product or the business model from every single angle, I know what kind of person I'm looking for. I know that they should actually be teaching me about it. I should not be telling them what their role should be. They should be able to give me some sort of ideas and etc. So if you're thinking and you're hearing this and you're saying, "Oh, I just need to delegate everything that I do to somebody else so I can focus on what really moves the bottom line." If you don't understand the business, it's probably not going to grow. So I think there's multiple skill sets or steps that you take when you're starting a business. The first, when you start a business and you're probably all by yourself, especially if it's an online business, you need to get decent enough at a bunch of different skills. And if you do that, then you can probably make some money. And then you can hire people to take over the skills that you don't like or that you are not the best at. And then you can continue and probably have much better results. Then eventually it goes to hiring someone that can do every single skill set except the thing that for you only you can do. And that's the biggest transition. I've seen other people. George is not in that position. He still needs to do something, but this guy can. He can go on vacation for 2 months, be away from the business, and it's still growing because he has removed himself from the business. And that is a very long progression by filling in really good people at every single step of the way. But there's this everlasting gain. I think my main skill set and the benefit that I can provide to other people and that I'm helping people do is if they're making around $1 million per year, I'm helping them double, triple, maybe 5x their revenue. And that is because I've learned all these funneling tactics. I know the people that they need to hire to go into their team and then hopefully increase revenues. And I'm just getting started out, but that is the way that's been working so far. And that is the goal with what I'm going to be doing with this guy, Ken McElroy, except I'm hoping that we can have much bigger results because I'm doing some sort of revenue share. But that is besides the point. I'm focusing on what I can do best. And then I'm delegating everything else because I'm going to be taking on more roles. I need to hire someone for the 2 hours a day that I'm spending right now on taking the long form videos for someone that I'm working with, turning them to email lists, blog posts, Twitter threads, LinkedIn posts, Meta posts, all of the alike. And I'm training someone else to do that instead, which now, once that is automated and I don't have to think about that as much, I'm going to have, let's say, 2 hours free each day that I can spend thinking about what really moves the bottom line the most. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm applying the information and the skills that I've learned from everyone else that I've seen. I think everybody knows what they should be doing. If you just applied what you learned instead of just consuming constantly, I think that is the key to what most of this is. Most people consume and can regurgitate information so well. I've met so many of these people who can recite Jordan Peterson podcasts to a very high degree and they sound super intelligent, but in practical use case, they are very bad because people don't apply the information to get to the end result and know what the end finished product's supposed to be like, but they don't know how to get there. And the reason why I know this is because this is how I was for a very long time. Now I focus 90% of my time in applying what I learned instead of learning because you can only spend so much time learning. Most of that gets forgotten. Whereas if you apply it, it becomes your own, and therefore you can take that with you probably for the rest of your life. The only thing, I think Mark Moss actually told me this. He said the only thing that no one can ever take away from you is the knowledge that you bring. So you can lose everything, but if you can gain skill sets and knowledge, then you can make that back whenever. So he basically said, go balls to the walls. And that's what I'm doing. Cut out 90% of the jargon that you know you probably shouldn't be doing and fill that with the 10% of stuff that moves the needle the most for you. And I guarantee you, you'll get at least somewhere. But no one's going to take advice. Who does that on YouTube? I just watch YouTube to consume useless information, probably like this is. Anywho, Goodbye.